joining me from Hong Kong for more on this situation with those protests and the crackdown. CNN's Andrew Stevens. Andrew, thanks very much for your time today. What can you tell us? What's the latest on the ground, the feeling amongst the people after the response today from Carrie Lam?
Well, the latest here on the ground, Tom, is that there have been calls for the protest which closed the airport yesterday to be renewed today. And within the next hour or two, that we're expecting to see a lot more protesters starting to come back into the airport. Just let me show you where we are. We're actually in the arrivals hall at the moment, and these people you can see walking through would normally be met by family and friends, but today it's a very, very different story. As you can see, they are being met by protesters holding up these flags, these notices, very much talking about police brutality in Hong Kong, and that follows a weekend of violent confrontations between the Hong Kong police and protesters. 54 people were taken to hospital, 2 of them in a serious condition. So that action at the weekend sparked the protests coming here to the airport, where the protesters say they can get their message out internationally about this breakdown of trust between the police and the Hong Kong people, and about the use of what they call excessive force by the Hong Kong people. And at the moment, they are firmly standing here and say they will stay here until they can close this airport down one more time. That will be today. And if you look across here, you'll see these are the protesters. They're basically staging a sit-in at the moment. Not many here at the moment, but that is likely to change over the next couple of hours. About half of these have been here for the night, and they say they come here partly because it's safe. They feel they are not safe on the streets of Hong Kong anymore, but they feel they can get their message across in Hong Kong, Tom, without the threat of being tear-gassed, being attacked or being confronted in a violent fashion by the police.
Andrew, obviously the regime, and Beijing in particular, is trying to take this zero-tolerance approach, the word terrorism being used, a pretty brutal crackdown. What's the groundswell there in Hong Kong? Are they buying that at all, the people? How much determination remains to keep making their point?
Well, certainly at this stage, the determination remains very much in force. There is a total breakdown at the moment between protesters and between the authorities here in Hong Kong. There is no back-channel communication going on at the moment. And one of the reasons for that is that this movement, if you like, is very different to previous movements in the fact there is no recognisable leadership here. It's done organically. A lot of they're almost flash mobs that protesters will appear in various parts of the city, a sort of guerrilla-style protest, if you like, which happen organically online and through social media. So there is no leadership for the Hong Kong government to talk to, even if they wanted to. We've heard from the Hong Kong leader, Carrie Lam, today, talking about Hong Kong has been taken to the brink of an abyss, and that the law is being broken in such a way that it cannot continue. Beijing is becoming increasingly angry with what they're seeing across the border. As you mentioned, now for the first time mentioned terrorism. The Beijing, Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, which is responsible for this area, saying in the past 24 hours that there are signs of terrorism. They're calling on the Hong Kong police to crack down with an iron fist. Now, what would happen for the People's Liberation Army, the Chinese army, to come in here? They would need to be invited to Hong Kong. Hong Kong government is saying very clearly at the moment, we can manage this situation, Tom. But it's likely that these protests will continue. There's certainly no appetite for these protesters, the ones we speak to back down.
Feeling increasingly like a significant moment in history. Andrew Stevens, very busy time for you over there. Do appreciate your time. Thank you.